of law. Sorry about that. We are Deception Stoppers, America's only 4D education service. Thank God I'm not a lawyer. Thank God this is not a law firm. We don't advocate that you don't support your human offspring. We simply advocate that you made them in private, take care of them in private. Okay. Today, I'm going to show you how to use a technique that will enable you to sue the 4D crime boss and strip them of their 11th Amendment immunity. So pay attention. Okay. Now, I'm going to use Ohio's, all right, because Ohio is just blatantly honest with it. I'd say about 30% of the states actually, maybe 50% of the states actually hide this, okay? But check this out, and I'm going to read this for a purpose. This rule and its supplemental rules describes the process by which a 4D agency enters into a 4D contract with a governmental entity to provide services, to provide 4D services and for the 4D agency to receive federal financial participation reimbursement to offset the cost of the purchase of service under the contract. Okay. That also includes federal funding. Now, we'll scroll down, and I'm working on the left screen here today, so don't mind me. We're going to go down to its definitions. Letter B. Okay. The following terms and definitions apply to this rule and its supplemental rules. We're going to go down to section 3. All right, this is where it gets good. Check it out. Contractor refers to a governmental entity with whom the 4D agency enters into a contract. All right, gentlemen, the 4D agency is not a state agency, it's an instrumentality of the federal government. 28 U.S.C. 3002-15C. Okay, it submitted a 301.10 business plan to the federal government, giving assurance that the 4D partnership will be operated in full compliance with Title 4D in the Act and other issuances of the United States Department of Health and Human Services, not the state that you live in. Okay, bear that in mind. I'll do a video on it. All right, so contractor refers to a governmental entity with whom the 4D agency enters into a contract. All right, now, you now know that the 4D agency is in a contract with the courts. Check this out. Number 4, governmental entity includes the following entities in the same county as the 4D agency. You'll notice it doesn't say the county 4D agency, it's the same county. Okay, first one up, court. Okay, there's no court order, all right, because the court under that contract is now a contractor, not a court. All right, prosecutor, sheriff, okay, clerk of court. And I like this sheriff one because when I get done with you, you're going to realize that the sheriff ain't the sheriff and they try to arrest you. You have the right to defend yourself lethally if necessary when someone tries to kidnap you. All right, and the clerk of the court. We're going to focus on. So sheriff, clerk of the court, and the court. Prosecutor, and judges. All right. Now, we're going to go down to number 7. 4D contract is a mutually binding legal relationship obligating a governmental entity to provide 4D services in 4D cases. And here it is, perform other administrative duties of the 4D agency that pertain to 4D cases in return for payment by the 4D agency. Okay, no big deal. They're in a contract. They're getting paid for that contract. Now, we're going to slide down. Now, remember, these definitions are binding. We're going to go down to number 13. Oh, did I pass it? No, I did. My bad. All right, 13. Here it is. Private entity means a company, organization, or individual that does not meet the definition of a governmental entity. What is the 4D agency? 42 U.S.C. 654.3 clearly defines it as an alone, detached, and disconnected what? Organizational unit. Okay? So private entity means an organization that does not meet the definition of a governmental entity. Back to number 4. Here it is again. Governmental entity includes the following entities. Right? In the same county as the 4D agency. All right, letter A through G. Do you see the 4D agency in here? No, you do not. It is not a governmental entity. So therefore, it is not included as a governmental entity. And it is, in fact, right? Check it out. Go back down to 13. A private entity because it does not meet the definition of a governmental entity. Okay? Now, here's where you have some fun. Okay? A lot of fun. We're going to, hold on, I'm going to switch screens real fast. I'm going to stop sharing that. All right. Hey, handsome. All right, we're going to go to, where we're at there. I want to do it. All right, nope. Nah, I don't want that. Give me a second. I can dangle this shit eventually. All right, there we go. And we're going to go here. I hope it's up here. Yeah, it's not. Give me a second. Give me a second. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is, there we go. Sorry about that. There it is. All right. Now, brethren, this is the 4D private person technique. Now, we have learned, all right, throughout the years, when you sue the 4D crime boss in an official capacity, they're going to come back and say we have 11th Amendment immunity. All right. I'm going to show you now a guaranteed method, all right, that cannot be denied, has not been denied, and is still in effect today, how to sue them as a private person. More importantly, not only are you suing them as a private person, their own law that they're performing under defines them as a private person. All right. Now, 42 U.S.C. 659, consent by the United States to income withholding, garnishment, and similar proceedings for enforcement of support and alimony. Okay. Now, notice I have the word similar italicized, similar. So in other words, anything dealing with Title 4D or child support, they consented to. Okay. Now, who runs 4D? The 4D agency. The state does not run it. The 4D agency runs it underneath the federal government. So what happens is they have to use procedures. 45 CFR 301.1. All right. A set of instructions in a record which describe in detail the step-by-step actions to be taken by 4D enforcement personnel in the performance of a specific function under the 301.10 plan. The unit issues general instructions on one or more functions and delegates responsibility for the detailed procedures to the agency or public, to the agency of performing the functions, the courts. All right. Now, we're going to go down to 312. So what this means is now the agency, the 4D unit, does not issue the orders. The 4D crime boss who runs the unit does. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't think vicarious liability. All right. In a sense, it is, but we're not. You use that. They got case laws against it. Okay. Now, remember performance. What is performance? Contractual. Okay. Now, right here, 45 CFR 302.12. If the unit delegates any of the functions of the 4D program to any other state or local agency or official, or any official, here it is, with whom a contract, as described in 302.34, has been entered into, or purchase services from any person or private entity or agency pursuant to 304.22, that's a waiting list, of this part, here it is, in the bold, the 4D agency shall have responsibility for securing compliance with the requirements of the 4D plan by such agency officials. It's not the 4D agency. It is the 4D crime boss. He or she is the policy maker of that agency. Monell versus Department of Social Services, New York. Read it, folks. All right. That's who they answer to. These courts, when they go into a contract, they're performing the administrative duties of the 4D unit, the alone, detached, and disconnected organizational unit. This organizational unit is not a governmental entity. It is a private organization, just as I just showed you. Okay, so now in return for payment, which are actually bribes from a private organization that doesn't meet the definition of a state agency, all right, that alone, that's a violation of RICO right there. That's a bribe. All right, but that's a whole nother story. All right, so it is the 4D crime boss that secures compliance with the requirements of the 4D plan by these contracted courts, sheriffs, clerks of courts, yada, yada, yada. Okay? They answer to him or her. And they are the director of a private business for profit. They're not the director of a state agency. Now, they may get paid for the state, but that agency is not ran by the state. Now, we're going to break it down a little bit more. Right here, 42 U.S.C. 659, the United States, including any agency, subdivision. Now, remember, this is still, we're still dealing with, right here, consent. Right? Consent. Anything dealing with child support, they consented to these laws, okay? Or these statutes, because they're actually not laws. So the United States, under the same law, Section A, including any agency, subdivision, or instrumentality thereof, is the 4D agency a state agency? No, it is not. By virtue of the 301.10 business plan, it is the instrumentality of the federal government, okay? Thereof shall be subject in like manner, and to the same extent as if the United States were a private person. Consent requirements applicable to private persons. Each governmental entity specified in subsection A, all right, right here, which is the instrumentality, all right, shall be subject to the same requirements as would apply to if the entity were a private person. What is a private person? All right, 659, section I-4, private person means the person who does not have sovereign or other special immunity or privilege, which causes the person not to be subject to legal process. You got a private person who is in charge of a private business, all right, because it's not a governmental entity, all right, and this private person does not have immunity or privilege. You can sue them. This is the private person technique. Now, here's some case laws that we can go over. Check this out, okay? Right here, state officials sued in their personal capacity are what? Persons for purposes of 42 U.S.C. 1983. Personal capacity suits seek to impose personal liability upon a government official for actions the official takes under color of what? State law. Title 4D was never enacted into law. Liability in a personal capacity suit can be demonstrated by showing that the official caused the alleged constitutional injuries. Now, the 4D agency, gentlemen, has a case closure criteria. All right? They don't need a court to close the cases under that criteria. Under Section 7, all right, they can close a case for not being able to find a non-custodial payment. But that being said, the 4D crime boss can actually close a 4D case without having to file any documents with the clerk of the court or await a signature of a judge. Okay? That's how much authority they actually give them. So this is why you compose a termination of your involuntary participation document and send it to the 4D crime boss notarized. I'll show you how to do that in another video. If you want to learn how to do it, schedule an appointment, easy money. All right. So now we got case laws that provide that, yes, you can sue her or him, and it's probably going to be her in her personal capacities. As a first principle, it is important to note that the capacity in which the official acted when engaging in the alleged unconstitutional conduct. Now, check this out. Here's the deal. Unconstitutional. Title 4D is contractual. All right. That's also conspiracy against rights. I'll show you how to do that in another one. All right. So you ask them to terminate your involuntary participation in the 4D program based on what? The First Amendment. You have the right to not associate. You have the right to associate. You have the right not to associate. And the Fourth Amendment, because they're officious intermeddling, again, doing something for somebody that they didn't ask and then charging them. All right, they are violating your rights to privacy, to be secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects. Okay, that's unconstitutional. So this is the first principle that we're proving. All you got to do is prove two things: what? color of law, and this conduct deprives you of your rights. Simple, gentlemen. All right. So again, as first principle, it is important to note that the capacity in which the official acted when engaging in the alleged unconstitutional conduct. Well, the capacity was director of a private organization that does not meet the definition of a governmental entity, and as a private person who does not, what? They're not immune from lawsuit, not privileged or immune. All right. I lost my place. All right, here we go. Official capacity is best understood in the reference to the capacity in which the state officer is sued, not the capacity in which the officer inflicted the alleged injury. So we're not suing in official capacity because they're going to get 11th Amendment immunity. When you sue in personal capacity, all right, now you got them. They can't go back. Well, we got immunity. Once they go back and say that they have immunity, number one, we're going to prove it because all we got to do is pull up 659 I-4. All right, because the 4D or the alone detached and disconnected organizational unit that operates in the state, it's not a state agency. It's a private entity. And he or she is a private person. And on top of that, they are bribing state and city officials, whatever, all right, in return for their help. Okay. It's illegal. It's illegal. All right. So I'm going to leave it there because the rest is dealing with 11th Amendment immunity, and we're not ready to go there. All right. So, gentlemen, you can sue the 4D crime boss in his or her personal capacity. All right. They do not get 11th Amendment. And it is so easy to prove. Check this out. I'm going to go one here. All right, let me do this. I'll take you to it. We're going to go to, where is that? Give me some Google, 45 CFR. All right, go to, when you get a chance, go to 45 CFR 301.1. And again, excuse me, because I'm working on my left screen. My right screen is kind of acting up. I got like 3 or 4 screens here. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to pop this back up. Pow, pow, pow. There it is. Boom. Okay. General definitions. All right. These are child support definitions, gentlemen. I won't even. All right. I'm going to show you this. Okay. Again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, gentlemen. Take their information and use it against them. Here it is right here. 4D agency means the single and separate, all right, Black's Law's Dictionary, alone, detached, and disconnected. There it is again. Look, organizational unit. Okay? We don't even call it the 4D agency anymore in our lawsuits or anything. We just call it the unit or the organizational unit. All right, here it is. In the state that has the responsibility for administering and supervising the administration of what? The 4D plan under 4D of the Act. All right, it's a wrap. All right, so here's the deal. It doesn't say the 4D, the alone, detached, and disconnected state unit. It says that the organizational unit is in the state. Okay, you got to pay attention to these little prepositions. Okay, you put your wallet in your pocket. Is your wallet part of the fabric of your pants? No. You put your money in your wallet. Is your money part of the wallet? No, they are separate. You get in your car. You're not part of the car. You're in it. You go into the bathroom. You go into the house. Do you see the preposition? It's in the state. That's all it is. It is a federal agency that operates in the state. Gentlemen, I am the Amin Osiris. Bang the email that's up here. Schedule a class. You can schedule a consultation. All right, we'll provide you with the books that you need. We'll provide you with the education that you need. All right, and we'll show you how to sue the 4D crime boss. All right, and strip them of immunity and make them look stupid. What you're suing for? Termination of 4D services, a full refund of the money that they stole, especially since Title 4D was never intended to be a benefit or was never intended to benefit your human offspring. All right, you want it off your credit report, okay? And you want a full refund at 6%, and that's based off of your First Amendment right to not associate and your Fourth Amendment right to be secure in your privacy. All right. And then you're going to sue them for a couple $1 million for damages. All right. For violating your rights to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, your First, Second, Fourth, Fifth, Seventh, 13th, and 14th Amendment rights. That should be worth at least $5 to $6 million. Worst case scenario, you'll get a good settlement. I'm the Amin Osiris, gentlemen. All right. Take notes. Don't take my word for it. Confirm everything that you read here. All right, that I've showed you. Don't ever take nobody's word for it until you confirm it. We don't give you garbage. We take their information and we're showing you how to use it, to find it, and use it against them. Enjoy your day, folks. All right. I hope this helps you. I'll be back with another video, educational, real soon. Hotep.